Lord, help us have a spirit of joy in our heart, a spirit of family togetherness.
And hurry up. Let's go.
That we're trying to portray and trying to minister to people with. And thank you for this opportunity to do so. Amen.
There's like 10 kids in that whole family who are all making music. They're doing music together, and they have a podcast called Into the Doerfelverse, where the brothers all sit down together and talk about the music they make and what kind of bangers they think that they have, and it's fantastic to listen to.
You're listening to Into the Doerfelverse.
Hello, everybody. It's episode 33. And I am Sir TJ the Wrathful.
And I am Shredward. And I'm Curtis Drums.
And I am Ben from Life Point.
I'm just Joe.
And I'm Cousin Mike.
Cousin Mike!
And tonight, we have a very special guest. Allow me to list some of his occupations. Disc jockey, video jockey, TV producer, internet mogul, CEO, audiophile, news watcher, web domain squatter, NLP practitioner, conspiracy therapist, V4V evangelist, sealing wax distributor, compression crackpot, and overall a man of the people, Mr. Adam Curry. Thank you for coming to hang with us.
Wow. And now a proud member of the Doerfelverse.
Let's go.
Glad to be here.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow. It's been a long time coming.
33 episodes.
Yep.
I really appreciate you guys doing 32 and a half. I mean, that was very slick. Good work on that.
Yeah, it took us a while to come up with how we were going to get around that, but I think Kurt cracked the code.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks,
Yes,
Chris.
it worked
just
perfectly
math.
for me.
It's just some homeschool math. No big deal.
Yeah, so that intro right at the pre-start where there was like a prayer and all that stuff, that was actually our dad. We didn't know that our friend was recording us, and that was when I was 13 years old. So Ben wasn't even, I think Ben was in diapers, and that was when we made our first CD. And so, my mom's like, "Oh, hurry up, the babies are gonna cry." And we played every song we knew and made like a 12-song album,
Did you have 2 hours of studio time and let's just roll and record it all?
Yeah, essentially.
Basically,
Yeah.
In a basement.
Yep.
But yeah, so that we wanted to include that for our prayer to start off the show. I just thought that was neat to go full
That's
circle
beautiful.
like that. But
Yep.
heck yeah.
From the very beginning.
Well, you know that Tina and I, Tina the keeper, we have ongoing conversations with Mama and Papa Doerfel.
Yeah.
Every now and then, Dad tells me about them. Every now and then.
I'm not allowed to tell you everything he says.
Yeah.
Sure.
He's told me he's written you some long letters or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten letters. We've gotten some of Mama Doerfel makes some just fantastic woven. What do you call them?
Like towels?
Mercantile
Towels.
goods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's they're so beautiful. We don't want to use them.
Yeah, right.
Want to frame it? Actually, put it up on the wall.
Yeah.
I have one my
Indeed.
sister made me. It's over 15 years old, and we just throw it in the wash. Everything else is still perfectly fine.
Same.
But
Yeah,
anyways.
they weave it. They spin all the yarn. They dye
Yeah.
it. It's crazy.
It is crazy. Literally from the ground up. Make that stuff.
But go ahead. Is that Mike that I heard?
Nope, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, so we went back full circle to our beginning, and we wanted to kind of go to your beginning of just what got you passionate about starting to talk into the microphone and play songs. Was it music, or was there someone on the radio you listened to that you were like, I want to do that? Or,
Great question.
Kind of from two directions. One is when I was 7 years old, we moved to the Netherlands. So a little bit before I was really into listening to music, other than I think I had a Peter and the Wolf album, one of those classics. And Here Comes the Wolf. And here's the kind of like David Bowie did one of those, Peter and the Wolf album. So that was the extent of it. But then when I was in the Netherlands, just before I was a teenager, the radio and television scene there was all government controlled. They had one popular music radio station which came on at 7 a.m., went off the air at 11 p.m. And their idea of popular music was Lawrence Welk and polka music and stuff. But on the media, long wave on back in the day, we had medium wave, which would be AM, and long wave radios. And you could listen to pirate radio ships on the North Sea and some other stations like Radio Luxembourg. And I remember hearing Wolfman Jack on Radio Luxembourg, and he was doing some countdown. I was just blown away. And all I saw, kind of kids from school, and they were listening at the time to Deep Purple and, just some stuff that I'd never really been exposed to other than, like my parents had records at home, Jesus Christ Superstar. I can still sing every single song from the whole musical. And I was always interested in broadcasting, but not really broadcasting, more transmitting. So I was very early on. I was excited about buying a CB radio and being able to just basically transmit and receive. And when I was 13, my parents had given me a Radio Shack 101 projects. Now, you won't know what this is, but it was like a breadboard, had all kinds of components on it, and it came with these wires and a big manual, and you'd connect these wires. You could create stuff. Yeah. And it'd be like a photo cell that if it got dark, then a little light would go on. You could make a radio receiver, but way in the back of the book was an FM transmitter. And so I kind of went to the back of the book quickly, like put it all together, and then set up an FM radio, and it worked. And very quickly I learned about antenna technology, because you can't really get your signal that far if you just have a little wire. So I started stringing stuff up through the window and up on the roof. Wow. And
so what, you're like 12 years old doing this? Climbing
13.
That's amazing.
And then my mom, God bless her, she would drive me around the block to see how far my signal would reach. And so I had one record player, and I'd put on another album I scored from my dad, which I think, oddly enough, Elton John's Blue Moves, which is one of those albums that went nowhere and no one cares about. But at least I could play a whole album.
Yeah.
And when we came back from driving around the block, and it reached about 2 or 3 blocks, there were some kids standing in front of the house, like, "Hey, man, we hear your signal. That's really cool." And so that was my first audience. And pretty soon after that, I got another turntable. I built a mixer so I could, mix one song into the other. And then I got a microphone, and I did have a reel-to-reel, probably also from my dad, a reel-to-reel recorder. And I remember recording myself and then listening back to it and going, I sound like a girl. This is no good. So I spent months and months in my room getting it down, like talking like Wolfman Jack, trying to get my voice low. My voice never changed as I reached puberty. It stayed low where I just trained it to go, or at the time what I thought was low.
So were you more excited? I just want to kind of pause for a second. You're doing all this stuff, and I'm kind of curious what was driving your passion in this. Was it the excitement of you putting yourself and whatever you play out there, or was there like, I want to play this music that you're so passionate about? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to just think of, like, I remember when we started.
Was it the distribution?
I think it was 2 things. The distribution was a big part of it, just how far could I get the signal to reach, but thinking back on it, the fact that these kids were standing outside my door going, yeah, that's really cool. I think the fact that I had an audience and that they were entertained by whatever I was doing, whether it was just having the signal itself, because there was nothing else, or the actual music that I played. But I got really into music. This is the days, Queen, Night at the Opera. I mean, there's the Stranglers. Just so much music was around, and I had buddies, and so we used to have, listening parties, and then they come over, and then I'd record stuff on a cassette deck, and I'd use it from that, and I just kind of built up everything, and it wasn't like it was a 24-hour-a-day station, but I just loved doing it, and on the sidelines, I also got into single sideband on CB radio. So I would have a 5.5 meter antenna up on the roof, and with 12 watts, I would be able to hit the ionosphere and skip all the way to I think Akron, Ohio.
Dang.
And so just that magic was really, I loved that a lot.
So it was fascinating, the broadcasting of getting it out there and how people could just pick it up on the airwaves was like fascinating to you, and that's kind of what
Like the
drove you.
technology side of
Yeah.
it.
The technology side was probably 60% technology, 40% of doing it. Then there was an ad in the paper, the local paper. They were looking for presenters and technicians for a local hospital radio station, which is closed circuit. So, it was just going into every bed had a little ear thing you could put over your ear and had 4 buttons, 3 for the national stations and 1 for this internal radio station, which went on the air, I think almost every night. And it was all volunteers. You had to be, I think you had to be 16 you had to be 15. I was 14. My parents said, it's okay. Just tell them you're 15. They'll never check. and so I auditioned for both. I did not get hired with my still untrained voice to be a presenter, but as a technician, that gave me the key to the studio. So and it was a professional studio. It was like
That's
a
amazing.
pro radio setup, really done well with the speakers booth and the glass and everything.
Yeah.
So after school, I would go in and I would just toy around, and then I'd bring out a mic and I'd do my thing and just keep practicing. And at a certain point, that turned into a Saturday evening show that I did with a buddy of mine. And really the most fun part of that was the audience, because you're very captive. They're not going anywhere. So what we would do normally before the show started, we go all around the wards, particularly the kids' wards, and we'd hand out request forms. They'd fill them out, and then we'd take them back and we play their requests on the radio, it's a very, very small loop, but that feedback loop was incredibly important. And it got to the point where we were like, so the studio was in the corner of like a pretty big room where they had a small stage, more for like a gathering or a meeting, or maybe, and not really for a performance or anything. But we thought, why don't we bring some of the kids down with their beds, and we'll just have them here and they can watch us do the show. And I don't know if we even got permission, but we started rolling these kids down and we put all their beds in there. And we got a little wild, because at a certain point you had Iggy Pop's Lust for Life, and the kids were all freaking out. And so we were bumper bedding, and that's when I learned how to reinsert an IV, actually. Oh, crap, what happened here? So it was really, it was still, it was the distribution, it was the technology, but I really love the feedback loop. I've always loved that of seeing someone, even just, they hear their name mentioned, or or their request played, and I always liked that. And from there, I went into pirate radio and just kept on going.
Yeah, so it's the interaction that you got with people by this really cool technology that you were basically running with scissors, teaching yourself. Or would you say there was somebody you followed closely that taught you leaps and bounds?
Oh, I had many heroes on the radio. The guy who actually got me into decibel radio, the Amsterdam radio pirate, his name is Jeroen van Inkel, and he did a show later on Saturday night, and he would come in because he was spinning in clubs, and then he'd get in the booth, and his rap was amazing. He would talk, and then he would talk up the intro right until they started singing, like, wow, how did you do that? Teach me how to do that.
Yeah.
And then later, Scott Shannon in New York, I'd get at Z100, I'd get tapes from the morning zoo and listen to that. And really, I'm just not crazy about radio. If someone went when I was still living over there, someone went to the States and said, could you please record some cassettes for me? So I had a lot of the Coast FM from, California, the easy listening, but all that 70s. Kind of like Ventura Highway and songs like that, and just and also the sound. I loved sound. How a radio station could sound. One station could sound different from the other. And later I learned, of course, how that works with processing and how that all kind of flowed together into one seamless thing that just everything sounded the same. Unlike the setups that I had, we're going basically straight wire into the transmitter, and just kind of the signal's getting through. So I learned a lot along the way.
Wow, that's amazing. What a crazy do it yourself kind of like TJ said, running with scissors. Just like, I should just try this.
Yeah,
I'll just try this.
It's
You like
it's
operating on the
so,
cutting edge, right, Adam? Like on the fringe of perhaps what was legal, right? Like pirate radio.
Oh no,
all that
it was
kind of
totally,
stuff.
it was totally
Right.
illegal. No, it was totally illegal. I had my alias was
Trying to give you
John
some
Holden.
cover. Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't use my real name.
And then you got co-opted and became mainstream, right? They adopted you with the government broadcasting over there, right?
That did happen. Well, I wasn't really co-opted. It was
I know
like
what you- I know
these
what
were ex-pirate radio guys who got some airtime on the official station. So it was still pretty piratey, to say the least. But as I look back, now it's like 45 years I've been doing this. I mean, I've done a lot of other things. I had a company. I took it public on NASDAQ. I've done all kinds of different things, but the thread throughout everything has always been broadcasting and the means to broadcast. So when I was at MTV, which was a whole different kind of broadcasting by itself, cable in the beginning, people were like, "It's not even TV, man. No one's gonna pew pew. No one's gonna listen. No one's gonna advertise on cable TV." Then I saw the internet actually I had the internet in 1987. There wasn't a World Wide Web then, but right away I knew I want to broadcast on this, and I don't know how it's going to happen. And if it's maybe it's just text and pictures, which is a form of broadcasting in a way, publishing. And I think it was around 1991. I think it was 91. A guy, was it 90? Maybe it was earlier than that. A guy named Carl Jacob, who I had met. He worked at Sun Microsystems. He said, "Check this out," and he streamed a PCM file from San Francisco from his computer to my computer, and I heard it come in, and I could hear it. And he says, "I'm going to stop it," and it would stop. And I was just so blown away by how does that work? What is going on here? What are the systems? And I got obsessed with that. I was completely like, and then of course back in the day we had no bandwidth. So how do we do this that you can actually have more than 10 people listening at the same time? The internet used to be click, and then you'd wait for 3 minutes before something even started to happen. So I've kind of surfed along with the technology and the developments as they happened, and I've always tried to be a broadcaster. So, and now, of course, much later, I realize this was the talent, and this is what God wants me to do.
Yeah.
And I've strayed from it many, many times and done many different things. But probably around 10 years ago, I was 51. I went, I got to stop all this other stuff. I'm a broadcaster. I'm just going to focus on doing that. And although I've done adjacent things to facilitate more broadcast capabilities, that's just what I do.
Wow.
Awesome. I had one little thing I wanted to mention out there for everyone in the DoerfelVerse that maybe hasn't heard of Adam Curry or doesn't know what's going on. Mike, feel free to help me with this too. So kind of how Adam Curry and the Doerfels paths crossed started because cousin Mike showed me a podcast called No Agenda. And it's a really awesome podcast, by the way. Highly recommend. So anyways, I start getting into this podcast. Years go by. I'm just working. I had stopped playing with the band. The band was still, I think it was 2018, somewhere in there. I'm listening to No Agenda a lot. A few years go by. They have these goofy songs at the end of the show sometimes, and some of them are just like crack me up. I'm like, And then they had this concept of they don't have fans or whatever. They have producers, and everything is driven around that feedback that Adam's talking about with people actually being involved because they're listening to you, and then they give you feedback. And so people are actually providing value in a way of time, talent, or treasure. We can get to that later. But people are sending you just because they appreciate the value you brought to that in that show. They would send you, funny things and songs they make, whatever. So I was like, I have an idea for a song. And, I gave it a shot. And you guys are always like, send us an email, whatever. Very open, right? You can't do that on a lot of podcasts. A lot of people don't. Yeah. You can't do that. You can comment, be another comment, one in a million. Instead, you spend like hours reading emails because you actually read them. Amazing.
Well, I mean, and the time, talent, treasure, what we expect from our producers is an active role. Mm-hmm. So either you're producing something for us. You're giving us information. Everybody has some specific knowledge about something. And eventually it all comes around in the news. Boy, when COVID hit, we had a lot of doctors and nurses and pharmacists and professionals who gave us a lot of information. And, we have people we've never built a web server ourselves. We've never done any of that. People have always stepped up. And then if you can't do any of that, well, you should send us some treasure to help us. But at the minimum, we want you to go out and hit people in the mouth and tell them about the show.
Yeah. Yep. So anyways, so that kind of got us, I started making little mixes for Adam, or, like, hey, if they're good enough, use them, do what you want. And
they were good enough.
And you know what? I was thinking this whole time, because I've been listening to your podcast and listening to your kind of your like concept of how it's doing. I was like, you know what? We had all this music that we had never released. I was like, I should, I wonder if we could put our like songs out as episodes. Like, I just had this idea.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what podcasting 2.0 boardroom meeting was. I didn't know any of that.
The time,
I was like,
I will say the timing, because you and I started having conversations about what if we could put music on this platform. The timing of this was so divine and weird because it's like the week
you guys
after.
are missing the missing link here.
Okay.
The missing link was Boostergram Ball. Remember?
Well, this is before
is
that
before
even
Boostergram
happened. TJ and I
Ball.
were
Now, wait a
talking
minute.
about this.
TJ, was the first song that we played, was that We Don't Care About Brandon?
yeah, we don't talk about Brandon.
We don't talk about Brandon.
Yeah.
That was so good. That was so good. Do you have it there?
Yeah.
No, it's in there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
in there.
Hey, Ed, you
Here,
can't say
I have it
weird.
here somewhere.
My
Do you
kids-
have it there?
Yeah, I
think I
have it. Yeah. Oh, you got it.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you hear that?
Yep. Sounds
Do
good.
you have it there?
Yeah, I have it.
Oh no,
It was
double-
so good. Can you hear that?
Yep. Sounds good. Now we're getting echoes.
Anyway,
What
that
is
was
happening? Wow. Okay.
there was a cluster. I was playing the song. You guys probably couldn't hear it.
No, we can hear it.
I heard it.
Yeah.
My favorite's chicken tumors and butter.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we can play. That was short. We can listen to a little bit
What,
of that.
TJ, while you're pulling it up, Adam, one thing that you said that like really resonated with me is like how when you said those kids were standing there and they were like, dude, that thing, and then you're like, you feel a connection, and then even now, like with No Agenda, you have the people and you're interacting with them. Like when a platform like what we're doing here highlights connection with people and not like the machine. Like,
Yes.
it seems like think about Facebook. When Facebook started, it was about people. You had a news feed and you posted pictures of your family, and then other people saw it and they commented and they're like, this is awesome. And everyone loved it. And then it turned into the machine that we know now as Facebook, which is just all ads and garbage and trash. And it's like,
it's you're so right. That has been such a theme, because I remember when I first got to MTV, no one was really soliciting anything. And I was like, well, don't we have a mailing address? I said, yeah, we've got a mailing address. So I just tell people, send it to 333 Broadway or whatever. I can kind of remember the address even. I had 18 mail bags, like actual, well, I don't have to tell all of you how big a mail bag is.
I know.
Mail bags. And it was just
Two of us know.
filled with letters
That's amazing.
and stuff. And I could never even get through it all.
Yeah.
And so, my the audio engineer, we became really good friends, surprise. And I had the only dressing room with a private bathroom. So sometimes he'd be like, hey, man, can I use your bathroom? And I would actually do audio. The control room would even know I was doing it. And he'd be sitting there reading through my fan mail. He'd say, put the good stuff aside, man. Any pictures, let me know what comes through. So it was always, I've loved that. I guess that's always been a very important part for me. Is the feedback.
When we started doing this and people started boosting and like sending messages, I was all like hooked all in immediately to like, I feel like I've repeated myself so many times, but I'll say it again. The fact that I can go home right now, write a song from my heart and just say what I want to say, how I want to say it, send it to Tej or whatever, or even myself if he showed me, put it up, and then someone can hear it and they could send me a message and we could connect through my music and gift and through their or whatever with like no middleman, no like rules. It's just like...
Right.
It's so awesome.
So in the timeline, Boostergram Ball hadn't been made yet. I didn't know if I think you guys had just started talking about music in the boardroom, which I eventually found. But so I'm telling Ed, when we could, just make a podcast, put songs out as episodes, do all this stuff, and I'm still making goofy stuff like this for No Agenda.
A little bit of chicken tumors, a
Bud Light on a Friday night. A pair of jeans I can tuck just right. And the mainstream.
That's a classic, man.
It is chicken. It's just chicken grown directly.
It is chicken.
This is when we were talking about the growing chicken in the lab. Yeah.
So gross.
How do we even get there?
Unbelievable.
Wow.
So we're doing all that, and then
But can I just say?
oh, go ahead.
Back in the pro days of radio, we'd have to have a meeting about that. We'd have to talk about what song shall it be. Can it be can it be a cover? Who do we contract to do this? Who's going to do the music? Had to go through legal. It would take 3 weeks, and now it's like literally the next show that we do. All of a sudden, that shows up. I mean, this is what is possible with the technology we all have on our desktop, in some cases, right in our hands. And what a waste, when you don't use that. I mean, it's always been baffling to me that it's so underused. You're right. I mean, people, you get on a camera or on a mic, and a lot of people become the machine. Like, I got the mic now. Whereas I'm like, let the other people in. I want to control it to make it flow. But let them in, that's much funnier than I am.
Yeah. Absolutely. So
It's harder now
don't
these days.
confirm that so quickly.
My bad.
It seems interesting to me that, back in the day, when the limiting principle on your ability to broadcast was essentially the technology, right? Because you were kind of trying to spread the signal. But nowadays, it's like the limiting principle on your ability to broadcast is just keeping people's attention. It seems like it's a little bit different. How do you feel about that? I mean, does that strike you in any way?
This is a change of mindset that I had a long time ago, but it's become more prevalent in the past 5 years. It used to be you have to have the biggest, you have to have the most listeners, you have to be number one on the charts, and it turns out that's just not true. The future of media is small. You just need to have enough people who care about what you do to participate. I think it's key. They have to participate somehow.
Yeah.
That's how you come up with a language. You guys have your own language. No Agenda has its own language. In the Morning, 33. And this stuff spills over. How many bells I haven't heard on podcasts? I can't count them anymore. So you're building up a culture. You're building up. You're building up a community, for lack of a better term, and that community will support you. And everyone has different parameters for what that looks like and what that means. It can just be, hey, I just want people to hear my music. Hey, I just want to communicate something, or I'm selling a book, or whatever it is. And however that community supports you, and that's why it doesn't have to be all three: time, talent, or treasure. That to me is the exciting media. In fact, I'm so honed in on this now. I want to create 1,000 local podcasts for local towns and cities, and have it focused around that. I mean, that's been completely ignored. No one, there's no local radio stations anymore to speak of that really talk about local stuff or play local music. I mean, Nashville may be kind of an outlier, but not really.
Yeah.
It's all been bought up by networks, and you got one guy sitting there and doing the show for 15 different stations. There's no newspapers, really. Facebook is taking all the advertising.
You got the local news, though.
Local news. Tom Stevens coming at you live. Just tried that chicken. Has chicken tumors. It tastes really good.
But see, you'd be amazed how much people love that. You'd be amazed. People want to hear what's going on in their town. They want to hear what's going on in the hospital bed next to them. They want to know what was going on in the dance scene in Amsterdam when we were doing decibel radio.
Yeah.
And
no, that's
then, of course,
so true. It's like, that's why people have on their phones, they have notifications for like every news outlet. And they're like, ding, this thing happened. Ding, this thing happened. But what stinks about that is a notification with text on it is completely impersonal. Whereas a person who says, hey, this happened today, there's like personality with it, which is way more engaging. And then on top of that, like you said, if people can engage with that person who's getting the data out there, now it's like a whole nother level.
Crazy.
completely.
So,
Well, hey,
Go ahead, Mike.
Teach, unless you had something. I was going to just take the opportunity because since we got Adam, we need to pick his brain a little bit.
Mike, you got a good voice, man. You got a good. You get in that mic, boy.
Yeah, that's-
thanks.
That's
Turn,
good.
turn up the compressor. Yeah, we always say that.
It's Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, it's cousin.
I just try to pick up what I listen to. So take that
Oh gosh, humble prime
All
right,
right.
there.
So I have a question about, being famous, and famous people is something that people that aren't famous aren't familiar with. So I'm curious to you, are there any famous people that are, famous people that you come across that are like also super good and nice people and not, I guess maybe people that aren't famous think that all famous people are, having an air of arrogance or, whatever. But I'm curious, had you come? Are there a lot of famous people that are also nice people?
I would say 99.9% of all people I have met who were super famous, let's put it that way, were nice. It all depends on the setting. You have to take into account. So let's say the majority of the famous people I met was during the mid 80s, mainly in the Netherlands. So you have to kind of take into account that Mick Jagger has just been to 15 other countries in Europe, and now he's in this place that wears wooden shoes in Holland. And I got to do another guy who's going to say, "So Mick, can you tell me where goes the song about?" So you can understand that they're going to be kind of like bored and maybe a little haughty in a way, but I was able to approach everybody differently because I spoke fluent English. I just approached it from a personal style, and I really approached it from, "Hey, nice to meet you. How you doing?" And I'd say every single one of them, every single one was just nice. The situations change. If you're doing a show and someone, there's a meet and greet backstage, that's tiring. I don't have to tell you guys. It's tired. You just got off stage, and I got to meet all these people. That it's all the same pictures. Now you're holding up a front, but that's not really that's not a personal encounter.
Yeah, it's
I
kinda
haven't
part of the
found
territory.
Many people to be, I was disappointed by Bryan Adams, to be honest. I was very excited to meet him. This is when he had Summer of '69, and he was doing some duets with Tina Turner. He was just top of the bill. And he came in, and he was just in douchebag tour mode. And he was, he was just he was goofy.
Yeah.
But I wasn't, I understood it. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody, I would say the people who I find to be annoying, often very unfriendly, and non-simpatico are ultra wealthy and politicians in general.
Yeah.
They are douchebags. They really, 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 it's hard to find a politician in particular who can act like a normal person for 5 seconds. And the ultra wealthy, like really wealthy people, something happens to you.
Yeah.
When you have everything, you can do everything. I think most of the time they're looking at, how are you trying to rip me off?
Yeah.
It's always like, you're after something from me. You want something from me. Now, sometimes the fame and the wealth go hand in hand, but not really. The really ultra wealthy are going to be much wealthier than the biggest stars. In fact, I'd say it's probably hard sometimes to be super famous and not be wealthy.
So talking about
Like a podcaster.
So talking about like the people you've worked with, these famous people you've interviewed or all these different things, has there ever been a setting, kind of going back to music, has there ever been a setting where you got to be a couple different ideas, like a fly on the wall during a recording a song or an album or a music video, or have you ever helped in production in anything in that area? I know it's broadcast has mainly been your thing. But since you've worked on MTV and had all these other experiences, we've been curious if you've had any music production, mixing, again, fly on the wall, just hanging out with a band or an artist while they're deep in recording sessions.
Yes. Now I've helped produce some bands back in the day, so I have some experience with that. Really, just more like just being there. But I would say the most exciting was Dan Hartman. I don't know if anybody remembers Dan Hartman. Okay, we got crickets. Okay, Dan Hartman used to play. He was with the Average White Band. He plays fretless bass, and later he became quite the pop sensation with songs like "Relight My Fire," "I Can Dream About You." Any of this ring any bells? "Relight My Fire"? Anybody?
Adam, we're
children.
You're really young, dude.
If I played one, would we get flagged, Kurt?
You probably would.
Yeah,
but
we'll look it up later.
See, this is
Dan Hartman and Charlie Midnight, who wrote songs for Nona Hendrix and actually famously wrote "Living in America" by James Brown. We know that one, don't we?
We do.
Yeah, okay, good. He was producing a Dutch band called the Time Bandits, and I had the same manager. And this was before I was at MTV, and my manager said, "Why don't you come along and we'll go to America and maybe there's something we can get going." We weren't even thinking of MTV. And Hartman had this place in Connecticut, and he said, "Well, you can just stay here." So I stayed in his guest house, and he had a studio, a separate studio, and we go in there, and he would say, "I got these tapes from Paisley Park that someone sent me a box," and he put these in the big 24-track on. It was Prince, and it was playing stuff you could hear him laying down all the tracks himself, and Hartman was amazed by it. So we just listening to that.
Wow.
So I did get a lot of. I definitely have been around some recordings, and this is all back in the day when I've seen people splice a 24-track with a razor blade.
Wow.
This is back in the day.
That's
back in the
amazing.
day before digital tools. Yeah.
Right.
We just basically reverb plates.
Yeah.
So you didn't have a digital reverb. You had a room.
Yep.
And there were a whole bunch of plates hanging in the room, and they'd route the audio through it.
I've never been in one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Particularly if you're next to it and someone's doing vocals, you can bang on the door and you can hear that in the plates vibrating. So all that old school stuff. And then later, there's so many people doing music, but in those days that was quite special. In fact, that was it the Hit Factory in New York? I've been there a couple times when Joan Jett, when she was recording. We later had the same managers. So I've been in her recording sessions, but that's about it. I'm just always fascinated by the technology, really, more than anything. Like, how do you route this, and where does this go, and how do you get the mic to sound so great? And I was always amazed at how much reverb is really on vocals. Like, wow, you don't really hear that in the song, but there's so much you put in there.
Yeah.
That's sick. Very cool. We took a lot of side trails, but I think it's great because we wanted to ask you a lot about that music stuff because we hear a lot about your
better side trails than chemtrails, my friend.
At least you got a choice on one of them.
We were thinking of trying to put music in podcasts, and then we find happens to be, of course, Adam Curry, who co-invented podcasting. Basically, that was like you had already tried to get music in podcasting a while back ago, right? And it didn't work for some reason.
We tried something with my company Pod Show, and we actually it worked. We just said, why don't we just create our own license? We can do that. You can sign up for a different license if you want to, if you own your masters and everything. It was called the PodSafe Music License, and we had the PodSafe Music Network, or PMN we called it, and it was a very simple system. There was no money flowing, but the idea was you would register with the PodSafe Music Network. The artists would put their songs up there. If you played something in your podcast, then the whole deal was you would put the link that the owner of that song designated. You put that in your show notes. Then you go back into the system and say, "Hey, I played it on this episode of this podcast." And there were actually some people, some like 70s artists who had gotten their music back and they were putting their stuff up. But,
it didn't take fire like the latest rendition of it, right? Like, would you say this is taking off in a different way than that when you tried that?
This is something completely different. So the value for value, which is a concept, of course, but colloquially known as, value for value is streaming payments and boostograms. That was really that really came from just one of our board meetings. Dave Jones and I had already come up with this idea of how to bake in the streaming sats And from the group, actually, the idea of a boostergram wasn't my idea or Dave's. I forget who came up with it. Maybe they'll boost in and remind me. And so that just came about. And then we were messing around. And, this is, every programmer always wants to have something called recursion, where you can kind of get from one place to the other. And it's like a software feedback loop. And the whole idea of, well, what if I play a song, but then the minute I play that song, then we actually tell the podcast player, you need to get all the information about that song from over here. And that includes payment information. And so,
that's where the Bitcoin wallets come in.
And Dave Jones and I have been iterating like this for 15 years. We built some crazy products that no one but us uses. And we have such a great group of developers at podcastindex.social. I mean, it's like our own band, a bit like the Doerfels, only it's 100 people, and one guy's got a washboard, and some dudes play spoons. We got a banjo, a harpsichord, and they all show up and they mash their stuff together. And oftentimes something great comes out of that.
That's awesome.
It's just been my pleasure and my privilege to be a part of that and spout my ideas. And sometimes something catches, or we try to listen to what other people are saying and feed that back, and it's taken on a life of its own. It's really beautiful.
So, kind of going on that subject, Boostagram Ball.
Yeah.
Has life just been too crazy for you to get to it, or
Give us the
you wanting
inside
other
scoop.
people to carry it?
TJ's
I have
calling
to,
you
I have
out.
to tell Adam the story about how you and I were talking to Teach.
Okay.
We were,
Well,
we had been listening to No Agenda, and we'd heard you talk about podcasting 2.0. So then you started saying that you were going to start a podcast. What was the exact way you described it? It was like the
music podcast,
a music show, essentially, right? It was like you're kind of modeled after your top 40 type.
Yeah, just a
list
DJ show.
Yeah, the DJ show. So, I know that T had been out of the band for a few years, and the boys had been staying at my house in Nashville for, I don't know, there's a period of songwriting that you guys went hard on for 6 months. And you would come up to my house every week and just book writing sessions with Nashville artists, a couple a day, right? 3 or 4 a day sometimes.
Yep.
Maybe not quite that many every day, but you guys banged out a lot of songs, and this is what we've been releasing, right? So it was you had all this music, and then you guys kind of decided you were at the crossroads with the band, and then it kind of was in limbo, right? Because you kind of had all this stuff that wasn't assigned to anything in particular.
Just hard
So,
drives
Tej-
full of songs.
Yep, I was driving back from vacation and talking to Tej on the phone, saying, "Hey, here's what we should do. We should give Adam one of the songs that he'll probably really like one of the better songs that will will get his attention really good. Hopefully, he'll really like it."
Yeah, don't send him crap.
Just sneak it in
And
real
then
subtle.
we'll see if we can, if you and me want to do a podcast about the band, then maybe it'll be fun and it'll just entertain us, right? And then we can release a song every time and just listen to it, comment on how it came together and who was involved in it, because maybe that's not interesting to anyone except us, but at least it'll be interesting to us, right? So we did that, and then we started, and then Boostagram Ball started coming out every week, and we'd be like, "All right, I'm ready to boost. Here we go. Adam's going live." So, and then it was, the group text, the family group chat would be like, "Okay, Boostagram Ball, time for Doerfel." On Boostagram. Yeah, that was good.
So,
that
was
boosted.
Bloodshot Lies was the first one?
Original
So,
OG.
Okay, so first of all, this all ties together. I get very excited and I start things and then I run out of hours in the day. And honestly, my bread and butter is No Agenda, and I have to be very diligent about putting the time in for No Agenda, which takes a lot more time than people may realize because we make it look easy. Tina and I had started, I am when I start something, I really try to be diligent. The worst thing you can do with a podcast is exactly what's happened with Boostagram Ball. If you don't have a set day, a set time, more or less, that you're going to release this thing, it's not going to do very well. At the same time, we just finished episode 100 of Mo Facts with Adam Curry, which was always intended to be, a limited run. Now that's been over 300 hours. It's been an education, but we knew we were going to stop that. But that always, Mo and I it was very hard to coordinate our schedules. And so that would be kind of the like the floating thing in the middle. It didn't adhere to my own rules, but it was important to keep doing that. That also was a 3 to 4 hour show per episode. So I just started running out of time. But I knew that I needed to kickstart the music podcast idea. And so I dedicated myself to really hunkering down and getting that started. And of course, now, there's a lot of music podcasts and very dedicated people who are dedicated to getting their episodes out weekly, sometimes multi-weekly. Mm-hmm. But the big thing for me, the apprehension at the beginning was, I'm a top 40 hit radio guy. I'm like, am I going to be interested myself in playing songs that aren't hits? And I have to say, without the Doerfels, that show probably never would have gotten past episode 1, because that song to me was like, after I heard it 3 times and I'm walking the dog, I'm like, do 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 do. Wait a minute, I'm singing the song, I'm humming the song, wow. and it kind of reminded me like, oh, that's right, hits are created by being good and repetition. And when people hear it more than once on different podcasts, so at a certain point, now discovery comes into the mix for me, like, because there's a lot of time and effort that goes into putting together a Boostergram ball. I can't just go to the top 40 list and say that way I'll do the one from the top 3, one from the, I got to listen to everything. Yeah. I've got to, so
it's an art. It's like making a set list as a band. When you're a band, you make a set list, you want things to flow, you want it to mix up, you want it to change, and it's the same.
But at least you're familiar with the content.
Yeah. You want good product, you know, and so then Ainsley Costello comes along, and so now stuff is starting to happen. But the way what I kind of decided to do at a certain point is, well, let me listen to what the other guys are doing, and now I'm listening to 5 hours of other people's music shows. So if anything, I really this is the one thing I did wrong on Boostergram Ball, which is why it's been so sporadic, is I need producers to help me to say, this song. I can put stuff together and make it flow. I can determine if there's something that just doesn't fit at all. I didn't do a good job on that. Now, conversely, I love doing that show.
Yeah.
I love it.
You just there's also an important distinction between, an Adam Curry top 40 show, the presentation aspect of it, and everyone else that's kind of catching up in their presentation style. So
I just love doing it. I love having people boosting in live. I love having the chat room going live. If I had a choice, if I could do one thing in my life, I'd do Boostergram Ball every day, 2 hours a day, and just do that and nothing else. But I don't have that choice.
Yeah.
So it's really, I need more Doerfels music really to without.
Speaking of more Doerfels music, let's take a break and listen to a Doerfels song. Okay. Does that sound okay to you, Mike? I think it'd be a good
although we should probably run through Boostergrams real quick. If you want me to do that real quick, we can kind of compress because the feedback loop is important. And I don't want to constrain I don't want to constrain.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna borrow Adam's critical ear too, so we don't want to rush him.
Let me get some background. Let me get some background music, and then you can look at these. Okay.
All right. Yep.
I can do one. You can do one, Mike. I'm looking at the same list. This is the magic. I see the Boostergrams coming in too.
Let's go.
All right. Well, I'll start with Sir Spencer then, if you want. 33,333 sats from Sir Spencer. Sheesh! Congrats on the 33rd. Keep on bringing it, Doerfels. It's a privilege to have your leadership and shining example in the D-Muse scene.
Wow.
So proud of you guys.
You're going from the bottom up? Is that what you're doing?
I was going to start in chronological order. If that,
wow.
works.
That was Sir Spencer. Well, tell us how you would do it. You're the pro.
I got to find Spencer.
You want to find
hold on a second.
Oh, he boosted before I even made this episode and split. So he probably won't.
Yeah, right. It's 5 hours ago. Sorry. So the next one is 1 hour ago.
Probably because he's getting ready to do his show tonight. So.
Oh, okay.
He says, so proud of you guys for all you've accomplished. I'll take.
I got to give a shout out to Spencer. He's the one that sat down with me and actually helped make an XML file, showed me the steps to get it all.
When
flowing.
the rubber hit the road, right?
Yeah. Sir Spencer
was there to help out a lot.
He's amazing.
Thank you. So thank you, Sir Spencer.
Wow.
111 sats from Salty Crayon of Upbeats, listening on Podverse, but boosting through Curiocaster because the sound isn't playing through Curiocaster.
All right, I can get the next one. Randy Black, 1,000 sats, joining into the Doerfelverse for the first time tonight. I have loved featuring tracks from the Doerfels on M2H2. What show is that?
I'm not sure.
M2H2?
That's
a newer one.
Hour something.
Newer, it's newer. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, he said, wanted to return the love by checking out the live stream.
Boom.
Oh, man.
We should probably listen to his show.
The Mountain Music half hour.
There you go. Mountain music.
There you go. There you go. 1,000 sats from Chad F., who is our boy, Chad F., major patron of the Doerfelverse.
There it
He's
is.
got the big old plaque
Here you go,
up there.
Ben. Here you go, Ben.
Yep.
Here we
There
go.
it is.
Here you go.
Chad F is. Oh, there you go. Nice. Chad F, man. He is an important driver of
Yes.
the whole system.
Absolutely.
And he's not afraid to run with scissors 24/7.
Yeah, I should almost try to hit all of them because he's boosted so many times. Like half Chad F.
Sam Sethi, True Fan Zap. Oh, he's zapping now. Said Sam is everything we've ever invented, ever thought of. Sam has implemented with True Fans, TrueFans.fm, and he says that's for Doerfelverse live stream 33.
Let's
All right,
go.
Sam.
Some more from Chad F. 3,333 Rebelizer sats. Let's go.
Ben without life point says Adam 287 with 1,000 sats.
Without life point.
Ben without life point. We've also got 1,234 sats from Colomona Sir Libre from the Lightning Thrashes podcast. He says, into the Doerfelverse.
Nice. Another 3333 from Chad F.
Thank you, Chad.
Yeah,
500
no
sats
message.
from Jimmy
All
V
right.
just for the boost of it.
Oh yeah, Jimmy V went nuts. He's got, hey, I'll just read Jimmy V's, and then he goes another 500. Hey, it goes Pew, Treasure Pew, and then back to Chad F with 333.33. No, 3333. I remember they don't talk about Brandon like it was yesterday. I actually asked TJ on Twitter what it was a parody of because I didn't know it was. Hashtag fun fact.
Chad F
must have
must
been
not have
amazing.
children, so that's we can we can learn that about Chad F.
Can you imagine
We
hearing that song though and thinking like that's the real song, and then hearing the original, be like, "What? This sucks."
We have a Mega Striper boost, 7,777 stats from Sir Brian with an I. Doerfel people enjoying the live stream. Keep doing these. It's great. But if I could offer you any advice, it's to check out SirBrianWithAnI.com.
Okay, little self promotion. Hey, I'm not mad.
I love it.
The guy texts my wife more than I do.
What a turd. I love it.
500 sats from Jimmy V. Can you imagine? The new Radio V episode features a Doerfels song.
Oh, shocker. Shocker. Thank you.
69 from Hey Citizen, who says,
Hey
I can
Citizen.
still remember when Adam started reading my mind and talking about one day having V for V music on a rock solid signal. All right. I thank you for allowing me to be inside your head.
I love Hayes.
33,333 sats from Salty Crayon of Upbeats. Congrats on episode 33 of Into the Doerfelverse. Glad you guys are doing these. No other music artists have seemed to catch on. Magic sauce right here. Right time, right place. You are all amazing, and I love the music. Great stories with the Podfather as well. Go podcasting.
Oh, here it
Very
is.
sweet.
Chad F., of course, he would know. Another 3333. Aerostatica coined the term boostergram. That's right. Aerostatica coined it.
Nice.
Thanks for that, Chad F.
Great 33rd episode. The stream is looking and sounding 5x5 from Colomona. 3,333 sats.
We probably
500.
Sorry, we
Go ahead.
probably could have bet 33-33 that Chad F was going to correct us on who
Oh,
coined
yeah.
boostergram.
Oh, yeah. Easily. Randy Black, 500 sats request for Fatty the Grasshopper. It is his favorite Doerfels track.
Wow.
There you go.
Ed, you wrote that when you
500
were like
more sats for-
14.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
That's
Mike.
a classic. 500 sats from Jimmy V. Thanks for creating this universe, Adam. I can co-sign
Well,
that.
I cannot take the credits. This is this universe is a universe. Everyone has done it together. And that's what's so great about it. Jay Moon, 5,000 sats, 2-hour daily boostergram ball. Let's make that happen. Okay.
Send some
Blueberry.
sats, make it happen.
Yeah, right.
The sats are flowing, boys.
Yeah.
17,766 sats from Booberry. We should do a tour together sometime. I'm pretty sure Booberry could facilitate a tour for us quite easily.
We are-
Yes, that would be the kind of person to collab with if you want my 2 cents.
Yeah.
And a bunch of us will be on the skirmish he's doing Sunday, right after No Agenda.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. This is like 10 bands or something. What is?
I think there's like 6 maybe, but
Oh well, oh, good
6
enough.
or 7.
Yeah, but there's so many in our band, we count as like 4 bands.
And then coming in from the living room, my beautiful wife, Tina the Keeper, with a massive striper boost, 77,777.
Collar, 20-inch blades, only Impala.
And she says she's boosting for her producer. That would be me. And the Doerfel family. Thank you, baby.
Wow, thanks, Tina.
Awesome.
Wow. Love that.
That's the best Boostergram segment ever.
Wow.
That was slick.
Good stuff.
That's amazing.
Are we all
Just like we rehearsed it.
Yeah. So we are caught up, boys? Is that right?
Wow.
Looks like it. Yeah.
Okay. I think, hey, Mike, do you think it would be sweet or funny or cool or not cool to tell Adam about our secret plot with the song we're about to show him and then just show him?
We can't.
Kurt says,
No,
don't do it.
No. We have to just get Adam's opinion on the version, because there's a few versions of this, right? Like,
And we're in disagreement
We were
about
just
it.
listening. We have a slight disagreement, so we would like Adam's critical ear, because this is up his alley, I feel like. And I don't know. Tej, why don't you play? We've got 3 versions of this?
Oh, one song?
Or is it just
We
2?
do?
Yeah.
But there's really
Different
only
mixes.
There's really only a section in it that we differ about. Most of the songs are the same.
So this song is like the one that we've been holding back the longest, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is all of our favorites.
This is the one that's going to get me to do a Boostergram ball this week.
Yeah,
That's what this is.
This is.
We hope so.
I
This
got you.
This is Bloodshot Lies, but up a level.
Ooh.
Oh,
dang. Okay, here we
okay.
go.
Oh boy. The question is which version to play first.
Play the one I just
the
sent
latest
you.
version.
Okay.
Yeah, the
obviously.
latest.
And since
Play
you
the
sent me
best
that
one.
today, when I asked you to send it tomorrow, I have to go get it out of the.
Well, I sent it last night, and then for some reason my computer bounced a click, like a pop in the track for no reason.
Is it this Dropbox thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Classic.
love how you guys all you have like some neural network. You communicate so well amongst each other. Like, hey, bad this, what? Yeah, boo, ba, two, ba.
We don't have to say
great.
words, really. Yeah.
It's great.
But it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
AI, Adam. It's AI.
Yeah.
It's a big compliment to
Quantum
Mama
computing.
and Papa Dorfel, man.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
raised
yes.
some good young men here.
yeah.
We created the Doerfel AI.
They also, Adam. Also, you've missed the rehearsals that we've had in garages where
Oh, where
like
you've
we
beaten
almost
each
killed
other
each
up,
other.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, some of them are on recording. I think we played a couple of those on an episode, right, Tej? Yeah, there's a couple.
We
that were
honestly
funny
did
like
most
that.
of that on the hockey rink, though.
Yeah, true.
That's what we.
All right, so this is one of our favorite songs that we had in the bank, and I think we're titling it Disco Swag.
Disco
That's just
Swag.
what we always call it.
Yeah. Self-titled.
The beginning might be familiar to you.
I keep spying on you, and you just do what you wanna do. You're free, like I wanna be, tapped into your energy. I can feel your spark from across the room, and I never make the first move, but it's different with you. Out here on my own, won't you dance with me? Hits 100 proof, give me a shot. Come on, take my hand, won't you set me free? Show me all the moves you got. Wrap my hands around your waist, lips so close that I can taste. Show me what I need to do. Show me what to do. Feel the beat inside, take me for a ride. Show me what I missed before I mess with you. So move with me slow, and I'll take you where you want to go. Out here on my own, won't you dance with me? Hips 100 proof, give me a shot. Come on, take my hand, won't you set me free? Show me all the moves you got. Show me what you got, girl. Show me what you got.
Wow. First of all, I love the hook. Let me get on my horn, baby. And I love the little riff there. And you left a whole spot open there for me to do my rap in. That's fantastic. Let's go. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's great.
All right, there's two versions of it though. We want you to hear both because I like that version. That version's got a little extra slap bass on it. Is that Joe on the bass, Ben? Or
no,
is
that's our one of our friend DC, David Cox.
Okay.
And by the way, you know me, I love the compression. I just love
it's caked.
Nice. Really nice.
That was an Adam Curry signature mastering.
Yeah.
Mike.
I try not to screw your stuff up too much.
So obviously we're not going to listen to the whole song again, but the sections that
Just go to the section that's different.
Do you want the
it's 2 minutes?
demo?
Let's do it. It's just 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes.
Just 2 minutes. I got just 2 minutes.
Just 2 minutes. I can be convinced. It's fine.
That's my job. I just do the convincing at the right time.
Do you want the version you vouched for, the 233 one?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Radio worthy 233.
Ooh, radio edit.
I'm gonna gas it up here.
Hey guys, I have a new cousin.
Oh man, sorry about that.
So, I like the drums a lot on this. There's a massive, massive sound to the drum. This is the version Bruno Mars will do after the first version becomes a #1 hit. Because Bruno Mars will steal this from you.
Okay.
He will want to do this. I
All
mean,
right.
the first one to me was a real classic Doerfel sound. Obviously I love the song, so I like both versions. But if I had to choose, I'd go with version 1 because that has that patented Doerfel kind of vibe to it. And when I was listening to this, that came into my mind like, man, I got to send this to Bruno Mars. I got to send this to Bruno Mars because that's the kind of song that he would do and be his production more. Does that make any sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Are y'all super disappointed now with what I'm saying?
Nope.
Lucky for you, we don't have to choose because we can do whatever we want.
Oh! Value verse wins again.
We can post both of them at the same time.
I was gonna say, all this talk, but really only the determining factor is that the second version is mapped to Clone Hero.
Oh,
It's classic.
Guitar Hero, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's so just so anyone, and in case anyone knows, and if anyone wants that track on the Clone Hero Guitar Hero game, it's mapped for that.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can play
send
along
it to
with it?
you.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Wow, that's great. So you guys are releasing that today or tomorrow or tonight?
Yeah, as soon as I get time from being here, then going to work in the morning, come back, it gets done when it gets done.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you.
It'll be ready for the next
I
project.
love that song. It is a classic. Love it.
The second version is a lot closer to the original demo, and like the songs, the good songs we've done, like you do it, you have the demo and you're in love with it, and then you keep refining it, and then if you refine it too many times,
The
you
song's
get a
gone.
little too far
Yeah.
from the original, and then you lose a little magic. But it's hard to say.
I came in with fresh ears, and the first track, I was like, "Yeah, this is a Doerfel smash. This is perfect." And I kind of like that production. I like the adding to it. I like the extra bits. I liked it.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Me sitting behind the desk doing all of that adding and tweaking and making choices and calls of that goes, this stays,
Oh, that's incredibly hard to do.
Yeah, it's super hard. And I think Jimmy V, I believe it was Jimmy V, we showed him a piece of that song, and he actually said he heard closer to version 2, and he said he was like, banger song, but it needs more Doerfel. And so
more cowbell.
Yeah, so the first one we played, which we'll call version 1 for now, the one that you're saying you like, Adam, that one all the choices I made was with Jimmy's advice in mind of like, okay, how do I make this keep the banger and like what sounds fresh and kind of Bruno-y, let's say, about it, but still feel like Doerfel and not just like all full synth and like completely quantized and like, you know what I mean? Which is hard.
I hate it when it's completely quantized.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking
AI
about.
can make a song.
We're all like, oh yeah, that makes sense. He's like,
We all try to stay fully quantized.
But Jimmy V's great, man. He's got great ears. I love his stuff too. So when he says that, I agree with him. It's Doerfelized. That first version that you played is Doerfelized, and I recognize it as such. Yeah,
We have
I
a
really
comment
like it.
on YouTube. It says, "Let the Sats decide."
Let the Sats decide.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely.
There we
Let the
go.
Sats
Maybe we'll
decide.
have to have a protracted decision process.
Yeah. Why not?
kind of a last
Vote with Sats.
Sure thing.
So, Adam, sort of like a last question, I think, for the night is, did you get a chance to watch that silly sizzle reel? I know I sent it to you at a bad time, but I thought maybe you'd remember to circle back and watch it.
I had not watched it yet. This was the sizzle reel from the reality show that they were talking about. I have not watched
That's
it.
okay.
And
I realized I
classic.
sent it to you at a terrible time. I was like, oh, man. That's it.
So classic.
honestly, I was like, do I really want to watch this?
Oh, it's terrible.
I
it's funny.
wasn't sure. I will watch it. It's on the list, but
And there's
I had not
there's
seen
truth
it.
to it.
Watch
They-
it with Tina.
Yeah, watch it with
Yeah,
Tina for sure.
she'll love it.
Okay.
She'll love it. I think there's just to give you a little hint, there's a part in it where I say, Dad, how am I supposed to meet hot babes if we're stuck playing to 70-year-old grannies? So that just gives you a little taste of what this is.
But it does have our bus in it with the bunks that Dad built and stuff. But
that's
it's
awesome.
dramatized.
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
So
You'll
Yeah,
see
it was
the
put
you'll see
together.
the produced like drama of it. But what's funny is even though it's produced, it's like almost actually real, like completely.
pretty
real.
accurate.
Did you shop that around? Were you able to show it to any
It was
television production
produced by
companies?
someone, right? Someone of notoriety,
Archie
right? Keith?
Gibbs. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
Archie.
made Duck Dynasty, a Katy
Oh,
Perry
sure.
movie.
Katy Perry, Justin Bieber movie.
Right on.
stuff. Yeah.
Right on.
If I remember correctly, you guys correct me. It was shopped around, and Archie really wanted TLC, right?
Yeah, Mike, Dad just told you. You remember what he said last
Yeah,
night?
we were quizzing him
Go
last
ahead,
night
Mike.
about it. He was like, yeah, Archie told me that we were a shoo-in for TLC.
Yeah.
but I told him that I wasn't really super happy about the way it came out. But he told me that he didn't want to give him too much, and we didn't want to overdo it. We just want to give him a little taste, and then get the rest of the way. And then he's looking back on it, he's like,
That's going to be the line.
Yeah.
Man, this track is a shoe-in for TLC.
What was the reason it didn't make it? Do you remember?
The the CEO, so whoever was
Somebody
making the
over
call
there. It was the CEO.
at TLC, whoever was making the call said that it was claustrophobic.
They were claustrophobic.
They made them feel.
Yeah.
They said,
and this is exactly the reason why Value for Value and podcasting exists.
Yes!
You should put that out on your own thing. Put it out there. Produce it yourself. Do a new version. I mean, the DoerfelVerse by itself is almost a reality show. I mean, that's what's so cool about it. You're jamming, you're talking, you're arguing, kind of. We need to hype that up a bit more, guys. Can you do a little bit more anger?
Guys, can you argue more? Can you
a little more arguments on the video?
If we release version 2, I quit. DoerfelVerse is done.
Exactly. You need to rage quit. You need to storm off the set. Exactly. Production, add some alcohol to those guys. Drunk.
Yep.
Yeah.
we need to loosen this up.
Now, what you're doing now is, in my opinion, is much more authentic. What is authentic, and it's real, and it's interesting, and it's fun to see. Just the relationship between you guys. I mean, it's good. Well, not just you guys, the gals, the kids, the whole families, everybody. It's great, and you've really created something very special, and I hope it keeps going for a long, long time.
Same.
Well, Adam,
you inspired us in significant measure, Adam.
Yeah, we're back.
Boostergram Ball more than anything. So appreciate
back
that.
together a lot because of just bringing us together to make these podcasts and to go back and listen to our music and say, hey, some of this is pretty good. We should just let it be out there. Maybe someone will value it.
More banjo, by the way. More banjo.
Oh yeah. I'll play banjo tonight.
Speaking of, right?
Can I actually just before we go, my son J-Dog couldn't be here. He's at his mom's this week. So can you give him a shout out?
You got to do the ISO.
What's up,
Yeah, Tej, Adam, can you do a what's up J-Dog so we can ISO it, right?
Sure, ready? What's up, J-Dog?
Nice.
Thanks.
Yo, he's got to do it like Joe Biden.
No, he's got it.
I can imagine the smile on his face when he hears that.
Hey,
Where is he?
He's at his mom's house.
He's watching live though. He's watching live in the closet.
Okay.
He's hiding in the closet watching.
Hey,
that.
J-Dog! J-Dog!
Oh man. I will say, Adam, I think it would be very appropriate for all of us to just give a proper God shot in this episode together. I know I speak for all of us when I say very thankful to the Lord, to Jesus for doing what He's done in your life and leading you to Boostergram Ball, which led to us like just totally redeeming music for us, like in our own.
Dude, we had totally given up.
Yeah,
like.
Okay, we have to tell Adam this story. The last show we played was 6 years ago,
4 years ago.
2019, September 19th, 2019. And we had this running joke because we played so much in Key West. The bars that we would play at, we called them shrimp shacks. And a lot of that came from That Thing You Do, that movie. He's like Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters, if you've seen that movie. But
the Tom Hanks movie.
So funny.
Watch it with your wife.
Yeah,
You'd like it.
Oh, it's good.
So we're like stuck playing at Shrimp Shacks. That's all we do. Like our career's done, and so we're headed to this show. We know it's our last show that's booked, and it's in September. It's 19th of September in 2019. And no joke, we pull up to this gig. And like sticking out of the stage is a massive shrimp boat.
Oh no!
It's a shrimp shack.
So we ended our career at a shrimp shack, a literal shrimp shack.
Amazing.
So like Kurt said, we had completely given up. Just like for me, and you guys can speak for yourselves, but for me, it was like emotionally, like physically, just like hated music. Did not like playing. Did not like listening to music. Didn't even care to write anything. Like for sure. And so seriously, like, thank you, Lord, for what He did in you to bring you to the Boostergram Ball and just podcasting
Timing, man.
2.0.
Timing's crazy.
And then it just redeemed all of us. And now we get to love music again and make music again and do this, which is just all life-giving. So glory to God. Thank you, Lord.
Yeah. And now you enjoy the shrimp shack.
Amen to that.
Thanks to
brother.
the shrimp shack.
Absolutely.
So, Mike, anything help us? We need to do a closeout here. Anything else we're forgetting?
I think we need to shout out our other brother here.
Who is this?
Oh yes, our second official executive producer.
Am I holding this right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, hold it up there. Flip
Wait.
it. There you go. Kyron Down from Mere Mortals. He donated to get his plaque on the Doerfel's
Let's
sign.
go.
Very nice.
Honorary Doerfel.
And we are
status.
working on a place to put them where they look pretty and nice. We just everything's a
They're
process.
up on top of that Doerfelverse sign, and you
Most of the time,
too can have yours for a 158,000 sat donation.
Let's go for it, people.
Right?
That's a good
There
deal.
You go. Yeah. We
but-
would love to hang some more. We got plenty of space up there.
But thanks for hanging out with us, everyone out there,
Yeah.
for episode 33 with our, I'd say, our friend Adam Curry. Thank you so much, Adam.
We're all brothers now, man.
That's
We're
right.
brothers. We're brothers.
Yes.
And
are you playing us out? Is that what's going to happen?
I think so.
Yeah, we're going to
Oh.
play a song to end
wanna
out the
stick
show.
around.
And that'll be that. So I am Sir TJ the Wrathful.
And I'm Shredward.
And I'm Ben from Life Point.
I'm just Joe.
And I'm Cousin Mike.
Cousin freaking Mike.
And I'm
Thanks
Adam
again.
Curry from Swamp Thing.
Thanks again, Adam, for joining
My
us.
pleasure. I'm going to hang around. I want to watch the final song.
Tune in next time to the Doerfelverse.
You can find us at www.doerfelverse.com.
As I sit here wondering why I can't let go of this picture that's just hanging here. I guess it used to bring me back to all the good times and sunshine that we had. I won't just sit here wondering why I haven't thrown it out. It's just been waiting here. 'Cause if I let you fade, does that mean everything I knew will be replaced? I never forgot that night when we first talked and the rain, it was coming down on us. And if it's not what I hate, then it's all the words I know we'll never say. And I'm sorry if I'm thinking too much. You don't hear me talking to myself again, saying things I'm scared to say to you. Scared at the if I told you how I'm really feeling, would you walk it all back and stay out of the rain? 'Cause I'm afraid of your look, it'll spark that feeling again. I can't control myself around you, and I got no reason why. And I'm sorry if I'm thinking too much. You don't hear me talking to myself again, saying things I'm scared to say to you. If I'm thinking too much, you don't hear me talking to myself again, saying things I'm scared to say to you. Scared of death of you. I'm sorry if I'm thinking too much. You don't hear me talking to myself again, saying things I'm scared to say to you. I've been thinking too much. You don't hear me talking to myself again, saying things I'm scared to say to you. Scared of death of you, of you. back in love with I don't wanna let the dust settle in. Don't wanna let you hold me down. But what if I've got reasons why? Oh, I need to stop regretting now. Maybe we can see somehow. There's no way I can live without you.
Oh man. Oh,
Nice. I can tell you've been practicing, Ed. I can tell you've been practicing, boys.
It's been a while.
Wow.
Thank
that
you,
was
everyone
so
out
good.
there listening to the live stream. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will see you next time.